and attaching now a time frame when it comes to achieving gender equality should be coming into sharp focus now?
Absolutely right, and I'm glad you started with Hillary Rodham Clinton, the former First Lady of the United States and the former Secretary of State, because she will be headlining one of the main events today, a celebration of 20 years since the adoption of the Beijing Platform of Action. Of course, it is a women's rights, human rights blueprint that hasn't really been implemented to its fullest, but they will be celebrating progress tonight. And she, of course, is the one that coined that phrase that women's rights are human rights and human rights are women's rights once and for all. She will be joined on the stage tonight by the first African woman president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, of course, having to grapple with the crisis, the Ebola crisis in West Africa for much of the last year. She will be speaking tonight, and some celebrities, Patricia Arquette, who famously won the Best Actress award at the last Oscars earlier this month, and spoke about in her acceptance speech the need for women actors to be paid exactly what men are being paid. So she will join us tonight, and Jill Scott will perform. So quite a celebrity lineup tonight. In addition to that, when I'm done here, I'll be rushing off to a high-level event that will feature the likes of the former Cabinet Minister of South Africa, Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi. Of course, she is the gender envoy for the African Development Bank, and she will join a panel to look at security, women and peace in Africa. Of course, you cannot have women's development in Africa if we do not stamp out the conflicts that are taking place in South Sudan, the Central African Republic, Libya, which is so sectarianly divided today, the issue of terrorism in Somalia, in Kenya and in Nigeria. So that will come into sharp focus, women and security, because you cannot have women's development if you have bullets flying over your head. In addition to that, the Inter-Parliamentary Union will host a press conference in a short while that will look at women's representation in national legislatures. How many women do governments have in Parliament? South Africa is at about 41.3%. They've dropped down 5 places. They were in the top 10. They stay in the top 10, but only just. Rwanda, of course, this is a tribute to Africa. Rwanda leading the way with around 68%. 51 of Rwanda's 80 members of parliament are women. So we're going to look at where national governments can improve on this issue, and probably a name and shame game that we can expect in terms of who's not delivering on that question.
Sherwin, you're mentioning security and women development on the continent and violence against women at alarmingly high levels coming up today in UN Chief Ban Ki-moon's address. Now, we saw strong European solidarity in the aftermath of the Paris terror attack, millions on the march there, but in Africa we have scores of women and children succumbing to acts of violence and terror on a daily basis. Why the glaring absence or lack of global and regional solidarity in Africa? Is this lack of solidarity that will it be tackled by delegates soon?
It's not really a lack of solidarity. I think the activists will tell you that they've been holding hands on these questions at the grassroots level for some time. What you need, and this is what we've heard from the very top officials here, including the UN Women's Executive Director, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, that there are laws on the books. There are laws in national governments. Laws have been passed. They exist. They are just not being implemented. The consequences are not there. The enforcement is not there. The United Nations is trying to now start a process where they'll be able to hold countries to account. I mean, the statistics we're looking at, and this is not just an African problem, this is a universal problem where 1 in 3 women will face physical or sexual abuse in their lifetime. That's an astonishing number. 1/3 of the entire women's population in the world. So what the call and what we're going to see here is a strengthening. It calls for the strengthening of the legal framework, and that basically that political will needs to lead the way. Governments, presidents, CEOs, chairmen of boards need to step it up in terms of implementing and holding perpetrators to account, so that when laws are enforced, you will start to see those numbers come down.
Sherwin Bryce Pease, live to us from New York in the United States of America. Moving